All right, folks, do come join us. Our last talk for the day is about vegan advocacy and volunteering. It's a huge growing sector worldwide. A lot of people want to know more, want to get involved. If you always wondered why, do come join us at the McCain Health and Wellness Talks in association with ProVeg International as we kick our discussion off. It's going to be led by the moderator, Donovan Wool. Now, he's the country director for ProVeg South Africa, the South African chapter of ProVeg International, that is, and is also the founding member of the Physicians Association for Nutrition South Africa, a very important job that he holds there. And then Leozette Roode is here as well. She's the meat reduction specialist for animal protection organization, the Humane Society International, the Africa chapter. She runs the organization's Green Monday locally. Green Monday is a global movement that promotes healthy and sustainable eating habits in institutions. Also on the panel from Paws, South Africa is Bertha Moteane, and Bertha is a campaign officer for Paws here locally in South Africa, focusing on increasing the welfare of farmed and wild companion animals in South Africa. A vision for animals, I imagine worldwide, would include the welfare rather is to have the world better educated on the importance of treating animals with respect and understanding their sentient nature. And then lastly, from Beauty Without Cruelty, the SA chapter is Toni Brockhoven. Toni is the chairperson of Beauty Without Cruelty, doing amazing work, of course, to help stop animal testing in South Africa and being part of an end to cosmetics, animal testing, fireworks and animal circuses in South Africa. That tops her bucket list. All part of the discussion panel led by Donovan.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Can you hear me at the back there, Aline? Is that fine? Thank you so much for attending. I'm really excited about this talk. Most of the talks we've had on the stage have been about food or health or the environment, sustainability. We're going to be talking more about how you can get involved in the plant-based movement or the vegan movement and helping animals. So what I'd like to start with is for each of the panelists to just say what your organization does and how you got involved in it.
Should I start?
Starting with Leo, yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Leozette, or better known as Leo, and I work for Humane Society International Africa. We are international animal protection organization, but we've got our office here in Africa, and we work to protect all types of animals. But in this case, and for the specific topic, we are speaking about farmed animals. So for our Farmed Animals campaign, we run a Green Monday program. It's a meat reduction program that we do mostly in educational institutions and then also in corporates. And we go in, analyze the menus of the institutional kitchens or the corporate kitchens, and then we try to create more plant-based versions for those menus to try and reduce the production of animal products and animal procurement for those kitchens. So we'll go in and we will train the chefs in those kitchens, and we will help them to produce either a more vegan menu or more vegan dishes, with the hopes of them reducing their animal procurement by 20%.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here. So my name is Bertha Moteane and I'm the campaigns officer for Paws in South Africa. Paws is an international animal welfare organization working with animals under direct human influence. Our vision is to see a world where humans treat animals with understanding, empathy and respect as their sentient beings. We work a lot with the government in trying to have them change the legislature to improve the lives of many animals that are being farmed in South Africa and globally, of course. And we have, again, sustainable campaigns that we work on. Again, today we are here. We rescue, farm, companion, and wild animals, and we continue to protect them in our species-friendly sanctuaries. But our greatest concern, although we don't really advocate that much for veganism, I must say that, but our greatest concern when it comes to farm animals is intensive farming, such as factory farming, where there's a lot of cruelty on the animals. So we do try to engage other food production companies to reduce their meat offerings or their dairy offerings and try to incorporate more plant-based diets. We also have our Weighed Kind campaign, and with this campaign, basically, it's to engage all the South African fashion brands and ask them to please commit to a reduction in the animal-derived textiles, such as exploring and incorporating more plant-based materials in their designs. Yeah, that's about that. I'll wait for.
And Toni?
Hi, I'm Toni with Beauty Without Cruelty. We started up in 1975. We are the oldest surviving animal rights organization in the country. And our mission is to introduce people and encourage them to choose more compassionate options, whether it be decor, clothing, meals, or entertainment. And of course, obviously, personal care and household cleaners. To that end, we have a humane guide where we audit companies and ensure that they have not been involved in any way, shape, or form with animal testing with a 5-year cut-off prior to their applying to us. And the reason for this is because everything at some point has been animal tested. Whether it be water, lavender, rooibos, you name it, it has been animal tested. So we can't change the past, but we can absolutely change things going forward. And this really matters. To date, we have over 180 brands listed, including some chain stores, which is a huge accomplishment. Yes, there are organizations overseas who have thousands of brands, but our criteria is the most stringent in the world. We do not accept the use of other people's animal tested data. We will not accept a company if they are owned by an animal testing company. A company may not fund medical research because that uses animals. And then, of course, obviously, every single ingredient must be accounted for, regardless of how many specific products there are. And we don't do parts of brands. It's all or nothing. As far as my bucket list goes, with fireworks, we've helped to make it possible that it is so difficult to set off fireworks in Cape Town or in the Cape Town metro that it's technically illegal because the requirements are so stringent now. And over and above that, our cosmetic testing bill to ban cosmetics testing in South Africa is currently before Parliament or one of the departments. It's now had 3 sessions. We've got a way to go, but we are still in the running. Things are still looking positive. We are hoping that we can get this done before this parliamentary session is over, which means before the voting starts next year, because otherwise we might have to start all over again. But after so many years of working towards this almost full time, that is where we are. And we obviously focus on animal exploitation in all its guises, and obviously including farmed animals.
Thank you, Toni. And I'm gonna jump in and just say something about Provig. We're a food awareness organization. Our head office is in Berlin, but we have offices in 10 countries. We're trying to work with the big levers in society, government, big business, the media, and then also building communities of NGOs and of people who are really pushing for plant-based. So a big thing that we're doing now, I'm sure some of you have seen last year, the government tried to stop the use of words like burger and nugget and sausage for vegetarian products. We're involved in trying to get that stopped. And then we also have the vegan label, V-Label, which is Europe's biggest label, which we have the license to do here. Now, all of you missed the second part of the question, which was how did you get involved in what you do? So I think we can go in the same order, and just how did you get involved in the organization that you work for?
Lower down. So I was kind of at the right place at the right time. I studied communication and public relations, and I was working for a PR agency when HSI launched Green Monday in South Africa, and I went to the launch event, and by that time I just turned vegan, and there were so many delicious treats that came past. So I took out my phone and I kept snapping every single item that comes past, like I always do. And the farm animals director of HSI Africa International, she got flown down for the event, and she kept asking me, what are you doing? Why are you taking pictures? I said, well, I want to post it on my blog and on social media, and maybe do a press release around this, because this is amazing. There's never been a vegan campaign like Green Monday in South Africa. And she said, well, you know what, we're actually kind of looking for someone to do our social media and our PR. Why don't you send your CV in? And so I did, and I started working. And it's an absolute blessing because obviously it's something that I studied and then something that I'm very passionate about. And I've been doing that for the past 7 years. Also, I love to cook, and as some of you know, I have my cookbook, and with Green Monday, I need to develop recipes and do the trainings in the kitchens. So that came in quite handy as well.
Yeah.
Bertha?
I think for me, the first point is I think I've always respected the sentient of animals. I've always understood that we cannot treat animals the way we treat them. And I spent about 9 years working in human rights. Basically, I was working in conflict zones. So we were rescuing civilians from war-trapped situations and putting them into refugee camps. I worked in South Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. And about 2 years ago, I was watching COP26 in Glasgow on my TV, and I listened to the need and the urgency for us to deal with the climate change and us to help our planet restore itself back to health. And I knew that I wanted to change my course and do something for climate change. And Paws was the right organization because they are promoting the One Health Partnership, and basically they say the human health, animal welfare, and planet health are all interlinked. So this was the right place for me to work with. Yeah.
Toni?
Well, I was 15 when Beauty Without Cruelty was established in South Africa, and I started volunteering with them, and then life happened and I moved away from the whole thing, and I came sort of full circle, and it so happened that I took time off work. I had very understanding bosses. I took time off work to attend a talk because they wanted to legalize dog racing in South Africa. And I was already vegan, and I had started a group called No Foie Gras Campaign because it's one of my red buttons is foie gras. And so I went representing that organization. And Beryl, who was the then chairperson of Beauty Without Cruelty, and I sort of had a conversation. And somewhere along the line, online, I said, I'd love to do this full time, but I still have to be able to put toast in or bread in the toaster. And she said, let's speak, we'll chat. And that was where it started. I've been with them for 14 years. I've done two cookbooks. 100% of the proceeds go to Beauty Without Cruelty to raise funds for them. And I haven't looked back. It has been the best decision of my life. I am now literally living my dream.
It's so funny. Toni was the very first vegan that I ever met. I just turned vegan, and I went to this market day with my mom, and we walked in. I was so nervous because I've never been to a market since turning vegan. And as I walked in, I saw the Beauty Without Cruelty stand, and I just ran up. And I don't know if you remember, I just said, I just turned vegan, tell me everything you know. And that was the very first cookbook that I ever bought, vegan cookbook, is that little orange one.
Yes, yeah.
So I think there are going to be lots of stories like that if you speak to vegan advocates. You've been vegan for 18 years
18
now?
18 years. Yesterday was
So
18 years, yeah.
That's amazing. Well done.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how I got involved. I was an accountant. I was a big meat eater, probably the biggest meat eater that I knew. And as an accountant, didn't really like it, stopped doing it, found some stuff about plant-based, was like, oh, I'm 105 kilograms, maybe I can benefit from the health side. And then while that was happening, a friend of mine posted a bacon festival protest online. And I looked at that. No, it was Muriel.
Oh,
so I
okay,
don't know if
yes,
you remember
Muriel,
there,
yes,
Muriel
yes,
and
yes,
Brendan
yes,
and
yes.
Vegelicious did it. And I thought, oh, I didn't know about that bacon festival. Now I feel like bacon. So I ignored it, and the next day she wrote on Facebook, did anyone see our protest, and what did you think of it? So I wanted to tell her that it made me want to eat more bacon, and it wasn't really effective. So I didn't really want to be that bacon troll, so I thought let's send like a well-worded email explaining why veganism is not a moral baseline, and that there's no need for you to come and push that on other people, and even if you do want to tell people what to do, that's not the right way of doing it. And it took me about a month of research to try and find the perfect wording, and as I looked into it, I found out that every reason I had to eat meat was wrong. And so about a month later, and I mean a month of, I didn't have a job, but it was like full-time research, because you start freaking out. You're like, I know I need to eat meat because we need to eat meat for health reasons. And then you Google that and you realize that that's not true. And you're like, wow. And then you go to the next one and the next one. and then joined Vegelicious. And during this veggie challenge that I tried to do, I found the Fry's chicken style nuggets. This is a shameless punt for Fry's. We are doing work for them, but this is a true story. I was so excited about these nuggets because they weren't made of meat, but they tasted like meat. And I was like, wow, no one knows about this. When I tell my friends and family, they're all going to stop eating meat. And I told my friends, and it made no difference. And I got really excited about meat alternatives, not about veganism at all. I still didn't think I would go vegan. I wasn't interested in it really. But in that process of trying to get people excited about meat replacements, I got more and more excited about plant-based food. And then it just got very, very lucky. I organized an event with Vegelicious, a screening of Cowspiracy. Fry's was one of the sponsors. And 2 weeks later, they sent me a job application for a job as a brand manager, even though I didn't know much about marketing. I'm an accountant by trade. They hired me 3 years later. Some of the people from Germany who started ProVeg came down and they asked me to start ProVeg South Africa. So that's how I got involved. Then one of the things I think we really want to be talking about is how can you guys get involved? So I think if we can each have a short turn of just saying, what are the opportunities for someone who wants to come and work for you? Are there any vacancies right now? And then if someone wants to volunteer, how would they do that? And then are there other things that people could do that could really help the work you're doing? We can start with Leo again.
Okay, we actually do have a vacancy at the moment, and we will be having more vacancies next year. The vacancy that we have is for a campaign manager for our companion animal engagement program. So at the moment, it's a pilot program that we launched in the beginning of this year. We are working in the communities of Bredasdorp and Struisbaai just for the pilot program, and then we'll go throughout South Africa, going into the communities to do what we call sterathons, which is mass sterilization and vaccination programs, because the overpopulation of companion animals in lower LSM communities is a massive problem. So we go in with our vets and we vaccinate and sterilize every animal that we can find with permission, obviously, of the owner. So we need a campaigner to run that program for us. At the moment, our wildlife director is running that campaign. And then I'll leave it up to Toni to speak about volunteering. We don't use a lot of volunteers. Obviously, every now and again, something does come up. But there are two ways that I think that the public can help us, and I think also other organizations. The first one is through social media. And I know it sounds very silly and very small, but the impact that social media has is absolutely incredible. Just by following, liking, and sharing a post from an NGO that you love makes a difference to the exposure that we get, not just to your group of friends, but because of the algorithms of social media. The more people that like us or follow us, the better our profile gets boosted by these social media platforms, and we reach other audiences that's perhaps not necessarily your following. And also when we do have campaign posts and posts about petitions that needs to be signed, we need the public's help to promote that. All of us do social media posts, all of us boost the posts, and we really do need the public to come in here, and it takes nothing to like and share a post on social media. So I want to put emphasis on that. And then for Green Monday specifically, as I mentioned, we do the corporate kitchen outreach and the institutional kitchen outreach. We want to reach more kitchens. So if you are in a workplace or in an educational institution, in a school with a canteen or a university with a dining hall, mention to them that there's a Green Monday program and that maybe they don't have as many vegan options available to vegans and also to other flexitarians, because it's not just for the vegans, it's also people with lactose intolerance and egg allergies and people who want to eat less meat for religious reasons. So it would really help if you have that space available to go out and say, look, there's an organization that do these trainings. don't you just want to meet with them? And then to reach out to us and say, look, why don't you come in? Maybe we can help, maybe we can't. Maybe they just want a few vegan recipes and that we can provide them with. Maybe they need a whole campaign and they need sampling that ProVeg can do. But every one of us can help in that way to help spread our campaigns.
With 4Paws, we always advertise our vacancies, 4paws.org. So if anybody's looking, they can just go onto our website and look for those vacancies. And then I think the greatest way that we invite the public to help us and amplify our messages, especially when we want to engage government. As Leo has already said, if you do participate in our petitions and our surveys, it helps us to say 75% of South Africans don't believe in mistreating animals or whatever the case may be. But another way is that through our education outreach that we offer at our Big Cat Sanctuary in Lions Rock, we do also promote and help people to practice our 3 R's principles. So to say each one of us in our lives, when you go out there, try to reduce, refine and replace. And by reducing, basically we are saying reduce the number of animal-derived items that you use. And refine just means scrutinize the label, ask the manufacturers about the means of production of this product, because the more we give them that pressure, then they have the responsibility to clean up their supply chains and only source from good practicing people. And by replace, again, is whatever is possible to replace it, whether it's for your fashion. Look for a plant-based bag and don't go for a, one of the very controversial ones. Fair is one, leather is one. We work a lot on fair. So we do absolutely invite the public that every day in our decisions, let's practice the 3 R's principles. When it comes to companion animals also, there's not a lot of volunteering opportunities, but we do also do sterilization drives. We partner with the people who are already doing them and just give them the resources to make sure that they can reach as many people as they possibly can.
Well, I think the two ladies have already really encompassed the big push of liking and sharing social media posts. From our side also, not everybody who is already vegan or thinking about going vegan, while they might be very excited about their own personal journey, not everybody is an activist. And that's fine, because you know what? Just by living your life, you're already being an activist. You're already showing the way for other people. So from our side, yes, we're always looking for volunteers. We are currently looking for, we don't have the capacity, we are not an international organization, we don't have the capacity for paid positions, but we are looking for, I refuse to say the word educator, a teacher, whether you have teaching experience or you're good with public speaking and preferably like children. We are looking for somebody who's happy to go into schools to do outreach, because we have a specifically tailored program for kids that is friendly, non-controversial, age-appropriate, regarding companion animals, circuses and such like. And anybody who's happy to, what we are desperately looking for at the moment is somebody who's prepared to give us an hour a month to help us update our Humane Guide. The person who was doing it is no longer able. They've got too many other commitments, and they've also done their share. So if you know somebody who is HTML knowledgeable, unfortunately these things have all become too complicated. I used to be able to do it myself, and then somebody has very kindly offered to update our website, and they've done it, and now I look at this and I have no idea what to do. So I can't update it myself. So if you know somebody, or you know a friend, of a second cousin and the neighbor down the road who is in any way technically minded when it comes to PC programs, we need an hour a month just to update the Humane Guide, which means literally putting in the name of a new brand, where it can be found, and that sort of thing. That's what we're desperate for. And as I say, we are actually looking for a teacher who's prepared to give us not even an hour a month. So we have to be invited into schools, and as you know, it is less and less easy because the children will be upset, or it's controversial, or it's whatever. So we need somebody who is an educator. Heather has been with us for umpteen years. We are all getting on. We need younger people. So we need you who knows somebody. If you're not young yourself or younger, then please share. Our table is just over there. Otherwise, just find me on Facebook, Toni V. Brockhoven, or go to the BWC's page, Beauty Without Cruelty South Africa, and I will find you, and let's chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Toni. And then for ProVeg, we have a very exciting job opening at the moment, general manager. So it's a really big position. Basically my right-hand person to take over a lot of the administrative and operational stuff. And then my second NGO that we started, it was not mine, but the Physicians Association for Nutrition is going to be hiring a fundraiser soon, part-time role. And then we are busy putting together a plant-based alliance, a trade organization for plant-based companies. It will also be an NGO, and we are going to need someone with policy background. And then on a day-to-day basis, we always also can use volunteers in any sort of anything. If you IT volunteer, that will help us. If you're a marketing volunteer, if you're a research volunteer, there are so many different things that ProVeg is working on that we could use volunteers for. And then one that I'm surprised didn't come up, donations is a really big thing. ProVeg is almost entirely funded by donations from in Europe, which get funneled through ProVeg International and down to us. And then obviously all of the liking and following. And then we do have lots of opportunities throughout the year to be involved in shows like this. We have volunteers at our stage. We have a team of people who are running the Fries activation. So we try to help brands by getting them really good people to do the activations who actually care about what they're talking about, rather than going to an agency and paying a lot of money to have someone who really doesn't care. So those are the opportunities for us. I know we're a bit out of time, but if we can go to some questions, if anyone does have any questions.
I'll come over to you with the mic if there's a question. Anything at all? No? Means you've done a good job, in other words, then, if there are no questions.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you so much. How informative. Toni Brockhoven from Beauty Without Cruelty SA, thank you for your contribution. Bertha Moteane from Paws South Africa, Leozette Roode from HSI Africa, and Donovan Will, the moderator for this panel. Well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bobby.
That brings us to the end of the day of the panel discussions, folks. Thanks to McCain. The Health Wellness Talks is in association with ProVeg International. You're welcome to engage the panelists and the speakers a little bit further before we close down shop today.
Okay. Yay. Can
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Our mics are still on.
Went well.